even after all the crazy stuff that happens in this movie, I still want to go to this theme park. What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, and yes, I know, long time no movie review, but I am back to review one of the biggest movies of the summer, Jurassic World, which stars Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ty Simpkins, Nick Robinson, Omar Sy, B.D. Wong, and Irfan Khan, and is directed by Colin Trevorrow. Now the plot follows Owen Grady, played by Chris Pratt, who is asked by Claire Dearing, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, to test out a new form of dinosaur called the Indominus Rex in a new fully functioning theme park called Jurassic World. But once the Indominus Rex escapes, terror ensues as the park is not only in danger of a lot of casualties, but to be closed forever and to never have this concept be brought up again. Now, I have been moderately anticipating this movie for quite some time now. As you may not know, I was a pretty big dinosaur fanatic when I was much younger. In fact, look at this. This is a dinosaur encyclopedia I had since I was about 6 or so. And it was apparently $30. And of course, I did see Jurassic Park later on, and it needs no introduction. It is a bona fide masterpiece of sci-fi. It is a classic movie. If you haven't seen it by now, what are you doing? And of course, I did see the sequels, and The Lost World Jurassic Park does have quite a few problems with it, but I still find it to be very entertaining and an enjoyable film, especially with the San Diego rampage from the T-Rex. Then we have Jurassic Park 3, and yeah, there's not a lot of good things to say about that. And in preparation for seeing Jurassic World, I actually did rewatch the original Jurassic Park, and it still holds up, and I've been really looking forward to this film. The cast here looked pretty interesting, and the plot a little bit too on the nose for believability, but I was still looking forward to it because it's Jurassic Park, it's dinosaurs. But how was it? Let's run down the whole thing. Chris Pratt, by this point in his film career, is a certified A-list movie star. He's had quite a year in 2014, and this movie further cements his status as one of the top and most sought-after actors working today. His character, Owen, is a little bit of a deviation from his more lighthearted and very open characters in film he's portrayed, but he is also one reason why I get behind him in the first place. His stern and serious attitude mixed with some lighthearted humor that he does mix in, that is a trademark of his, is why we love this guy. He's a badass from the beginning, and he's a badass at the very end, and he's a velociraptor trainer in this movie, which is just, the little kid inside of me just made me excited to see him interacting with dinosaurs. Bryce Dallas Howard plays, again, Claire Dearing, who is the manager of Jurassic World, and I don't understand the flack she is getting for her performance here. I actually think she did pretty well, just as well as Pratt for what they were given with the material that was written. And I could see why people don't like her at first. It takes a little bit of time to warm up to her performance, but by the time the action does get fully going and goes full throttle, she's actually a pretty cool character, and the chemistry that she does have with Chris Pratt is pretty endearing, if I do say so myself. So, she is awesome. Oh, and a side note, she has the ridiculous task of running around in high heels throughout the whole movie, and I don't know how she does it because I'm a dude, but that's quite a skill you got there. Aside from the two leads, the cast here can be very hit or miss in my opinion. Ty Simpkins and Nick Robinson play the two nephews of Howard's character who come to the park from the very beginning, and they were mildly entertaining, I would say, but at times they were pretty irritating and got on my nerves at certain moments because the writing here. Vincent D'Onofrio plays this one big head honcho guy who wants to use these genetically modified dinosaurs for military use, and his character was pretty outlandish and out there, and I didn't think that he was very convincing. He's cool, he's a nice actor for sure, but by the time you reach like all the motivations he has, I was like, oh. Omar Sy's character is another tamer, just like Chris Pratt's character, and I would have liked to see him get more screen time. B.D. Wong is actually the only character that returns from the original Jurassic Park, and he was cool to see on screen. Jake Johnson, he's actually pretty funny here. He's just as hilarious as Chris Pratt. And there's also Irfan Khan, who's actually the owner or CEO or something of Jurassic World, and he was there. He really didn't add much to the movie. Overall, I would say the cast here, just with Pratt and Howard, are pretty tolerable and make one part of the movie that gives it a good kick of entertainment. The writing here is not as clever as the first film, of course. I went into this movie already knowing that it wasn't going to capture the same magic as Jurassic Park, but it still bothered me at first to know that in the back of my mind there was quite a bit of controversy regarding the script for this movie, as there are supposedly 4 credited writers towards the screenplay, which is already ridiculous, as no movie should have more than 2 writers on its film. And there are a lot of subplots here that are involved with many of the characters, and sometimes they get dropped in a matter of minutes or completely forgotten about. But that does lead to some of the best parts of this movie. The dinosaurs. The dinosaurs in this movie, despite a lot of them being overly used with CGI, are freaking awesome to look at. Again, the little kid inside of me was all like, oh my god, look at all these dinosaurs going all over the place. It was awesome. And I even found myself in my head naming like, oh, there's a Stegosaurus, oh, there's a Triceratops, there's just so much to see here. And the movie looks visually stunning. The cinematography and how a lot of scenes are shot is just breathtaking, and with the atmosphere of John Williams' iconic Jurassic Park theme is definitely helped out here. It is used early on in the movie, and wow, I just got this warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Oh, and by the way, in regards to the action, I did see this movie in IMAX 3D, and I wouldn't necessarily say to go for the big ol' IMAX format like I did, but in 3D, the movie actually does look nice, because once the action with the dinosaurs is burst on screen, it's really fun to see, and I could tell that everyone in the audience with me was really into this film. There were 3 little boys to my right, and they seemed pretty into the movie. Everyone was laughing at certain points. Yeah, this movie can be very funny at times as well, and there was a huge warming round of applause at the end of this film. So right off the bat, I do know this movie is going to make a crap load of money, as this has audience appeal written all over it. There are certain elements that do lead up to what makes the final moments of this movie just amazing. The price of admission alone is worth it just to get to the final act of this movie, and the last half hour is just what movie dreams are made of. It made me relive all the moments of why I love dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, and it's just pretty cool to say the least, and it just comes together at a 2-hour full throttle adventure thrill ride with dinosaurs thrown into the mix, and I for one can really get behind that. My final thoughts on this movie are that even though the overly complicated and stuffed screenplay leads to some unnecessary characters and subplots, the rest of this movie is just a fun action adventure popcorn thrill ride. Pratt and Howard deliver my 2 favorite performances throughout the entire film. The action with the dinosaurs and the visuals are just excellent and catching towards the eyes. And the 3D format is actually pretty nice if you get to see it in that way in the theater. And it just left me feeling just even a smidgen and some of the magic that the original Jurassic Park captured when I first saw it, as this film was not trying to be that way. And it was more so trying to homage it in many ways possible, and to my satisfaction, it did. Of course, it's not as good as the original Jurassic Park. It shouldn't have been. But it is better than the third film, and I think possibly on par with The Lost World. And I would give it a definite recommendation. I really enjoyed myself with this movie. It's going to be one of the best times you'll ever have at the movies this summer, and I just couldn't get enough of it once it kept going. My final verdict for Jurassic World is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Jurassic World, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.